Uh, let's start the practicals, amylose and amylose estimation. So before starting, this is the rice starch quality lab and I want to introduce the members of this lab. Dr. Archana Singh, she is the PI of the starch quality project and she is in charge of this lab. We have our SRF, Monica. Monica is in the DST project and we have students Bhargav, he is a PhD student and we have some more trainees who are doing, Palak, she is doing training here and welcome once again. So let's do.
The synthesis of this project is guided by our head of the division, Dr. Shelly Puri.
So this is on starch quality.
She is only the brainchild behind this project. Okay?
So we can do the practicals in two groups, okay? And we will start with amylose estimation. So as we already mentioned, we have to weigh the sample and then we have to add the sample with NaOH and ethanol and then we have to boil, okay? So after boiling the sample, your sample will properly get dissolved in it. Then you have to make up that sample to 100 ml so that it will get diluted and then you have to neutralize it with acetic acid and then you have to add your iodine reagent. So all the steps, for all those steps for assisting that we already prepared everything for you. So this is the standard that we are using. This is the amylose pure form that is from potato. Okay? So you can get different sources. Sometimes you can get rice amylose, sometimes you can get different samples. So we are using the potato amylose as a standard for your standard curve. Then we have 99% ethanol that you have to add in your sample and you have one normal NaOH. So you have to make one normal fresh NaOH, okay. So otherwise there might be some precipitation and other issues. So make it fresh and then you have one normal acetic acid, okay. So we can start, so we can make in two groups. One group can prepare the standard and one group can make the sample, okay. So let's start. So you can just move so that we can start doing it. So we have, for your ease, we have kept the protocol also for you. So by seeing this, you can just add your sample. So who is taking the initiative for standards? Who wants to do? Okay, come. Okay. So you have your standard weighed here. Okay. So it is 100 milligram. You have your samples. Okay. And you have your sample 2 and you have your blank which is having no. So blank is always required, you all know, because because then otherwise you cannot see the background whatever color is developing. So sometimes might be the solutions, color reagent can also have an influence. So you have to minus that background, so you need a blank. Okay. So you can take the pipette and first you have to add 1 ml 99% ethanol. Yeah, that is a 5 ml pipette. Okay, so add 1 ml 99% ethanol and 9 ml NaOH which you can take with this 5 ml pipette. Yes. So your boiling water bath is already ready, okay. So it is there. So you can keep your samples in this boiling water bath and you can just give a vigorous shaking first and then you can keep in this water bath. So she already added now
1 ml of ethanol.
So 1 ml 99% ethanol, 9 ml 1 normal NaOH. And your vortex is ready, okay. Yes. Slowly. Whenever you pipette, you have to release slowly. Otherwise, some bubbles will come. That will affect your estimation. Yes, the volume might get differ. And whenever you do micro estimation, you are dealing microliters. So there might be difference. Okay, so you have to be very careful. Yes, in all the tubes you have to add. Now careful, huh? Slowly. You want me to show once? Because it's a higher volume. If small volume, it is fine. But whenever there is a higher volume, release very slowly. Okay? It's not added now? Okay. Yeah. So except in blank, you have sample and your standard. Okay? Good. Yes. So taking tube in hand and then you releasing it is good, because otherwise what happens is sometimes you don't know whether the whole volume is released or not. Okay, you are from so away you are putting. So it is better you take even small volumes. It is always good. And if it is a volume is so less, then you have to insert into the liquid and then you release. Okay, otherwise it will attach on the sides of the tubes. Okay. Now what are you ready?
Ma'am, 9 ml.
NaOH. 4 ml. Yes, yes, yes. So after this you have to do vigorous shaking. Monica, you can initiate the standard part. Come this side. So who want to do the standards? Come.
वो साथ में करें भी boiling.
Okay, so he is initiated for the standard. So always the standard you have to take different concentrations and you have to make up in the standard flask. Okay. After boiling. Just let her discard and then you can use it. Standard should be very accurate, okay? Because you are calculating on the basis of this thing.
15 minutes incubation.
Now you have 15 minutes incubation in your water bath. So meanwhile, so I can show you, so we were discussing about endosperm staining. So can you see the endosperm staining? Okay, so this is a very easy thing to do. Okay, this is very easy. You have to just imbibe your grain and then you have to cut it transversely. Can you see everybody? Yes, you have to just transversely cut. You have to make 0.2% iodine. Just put a drop on it and then you just keep for 30 seconds, not more than that. After that you have to wash 2-3 times so that all the iodine should be gone. And then you dry it, you will see the difference. So this NJ72 variety, it is having around 7% amylose. Can you see the red color? Yes. And this PB 1509, Pusa Basmati 1509, it is having around 23 to 24% amylose. It's a mid amylose rice variety. You can see a bluish black color. Okay. So if there is a huge variation of amylose, these type of methods are very easy. So this is called qualitative methods. But when there is a difference, so this is a qualitative one, but it's very important to have quantitative method also. Okay. So can you see the difference? Okay. So the low amylose, so this is high amylose, which is blue color. Then you can see low amylose, and when the zero amylose, there is no, it is no blue color. So that means your iodine is not binding to your amylose and there is no bluish color is happening. So this is the, after your assay you have to see your colors like this. And with this method, even you can see the different like 26.3, 26.4, 26.5, small variation of amylose also can be accurately measured by this. But by qualitative method, you cannot do that. So that is the main difference between qualitative and quantitative method. And this is the standard which you are going to prepare. Okay. So the standard, as you can see, so this is a blank standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the increased concentration you can see in terms of color. Okay. So that shows that whatever accurately you have added to it, that is coming in the form of color. Otherwise, if you see that there is a change in color, that means there is some problem in your pipetting. Otherwise, your standard will giving this kind of a trend. Okay. So this is the result that we are expecting. Basmati and non-basmati rice, amylose. Basmati is normally mid-amylose variety, mid-amylose, 20, even we have seen till 20 to 26, 27%. Okay?
In all basmati.
In mostly, not, we cannot say all basmati, because there are certain land races also, which is from basmati, this thing. Basmati is the area. That is, whatever that rice grown in that area is called basmati, right? It is a GI. It's at that particular zone. But among the basmati, there are the varieties like PB150 and PB1509 or PB1121. So these are the Pusa basmati varieties. So all these are fluffy, your biryani rice, right? Very soft, smooth texture. They have medium amylose, maximum 26. That is most North Indian people like that texture. See, rice is something that every region has different taste. If you go to South, they want bold, strong grains, red rice and other thing. So Northeast, they might need sticky, glutinous rice. But North Indian people, and for the export purpose, because basmati is fetching a very high premium to the Indian government, more than 26,000 crores. So that is the importance, and that is the contribution that ICR is giving, one major contribution as basmati rice. So that is having a medium amylose. But for diabetic people, it is good to have a high amylose, okay, because it should be less digestible. So that is the point.
Ma'am, in case of pigmented rice, how we perform the qualitative test? Because it's already in blackish color in case of black rice.
For amylose? For the starch, you can polish it and then do, because starch is not in your bran, it is only in your endosperm.
And you said the qualitative test.
Yeah, qualitative test, there are, okay, for this grain, okay, so it will only give the color in the endosperm only. That black color that you are seeing on the grain, once you imbibe your cut, that is just being a rim of black line. Your endosperm itself is always white. Now you are putting your drop on that endosperm. So the endosperm will change the color, that you can see. And whenever you do polished, normally all these assays you are doing polished rice. So even your black rice also you have to mill. So once you mill it, then your endosperm is white only. Okay, so you can do.
Any impact on long-term storage, ma'am? If
Yeah, yes. Even in our lab, we are doing aging studies. One student is doing PhD in aging. Long means actually you all know aged rice is fetching a premium. 2+ stored basmati is having a better price compared to. Nobody is definitely eating the freshly harvested rice because it is not giving good cooking quality traits. It is always more soft, soggy. Okay, so for those kind of a thing, always 1 year storage is considered as optimum. But some varieties have, when you store for 2 years, cooking quality improves. So that's we are studying what are the parameters that is changing during aging. Because till now there is no particular marker. Because industry people, there is a lot of demand, because now they are just telling that it is 2-year-old. But how can we prove it that it is 2-year-old? So now we are more into understanding the biochemical markers which can say this rice is 2-year-old, this rice is 1-year-old. So that kind of work is also going in our lab. So we submitted a BIRAC project also in this with Joint Director Dr. A.K. Singh, because he is known as a Basmati man. So along with his, because we are working in line with that group, and we are thinking that we will be lucky to go through, and then we will get fund and we will work more on it.
The marker will decide the age of the
This marker is considered, we are telling as a biochemist, it's an indicator of age. We are not telling about the molecular markers. We are not telling that marker. We are telling that if we can see some particular sugar moiety which is only present in aged rice, then we can consider it as an indicator. So we are telling about the biochemical indicator, not that molecular marker and this thing. Okay. So what we are going to do is we have that sugar column in our UPLC. So UPLC you might have already seen in our division. So now we are going to profile the sugars of aged rice, and we got some clues initially. So now we will see which type of sugars is more in aged rice. So that might give a clue that might be aged rice. We can find an indicator.
Which column you are using?
We are using a Shimpack column, amino column. Yeah, it is from Shimadzu. It's a GIST Shimpack column. So that is good for a reverse phased UPLC.
On RI.
It's RID, yes, definitely RID. Because when you have nothing as a chromophore, you have to go for a RID based detection. So that also we are like in pipeline. So we have 15 minutes and then we can start with the essay.